arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic communications network.
What? Dear God, the UK government is arresting people for inaccurate social media posts. Welcome back to the JP React Channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we like to call it the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan. Shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters because truth conquers. And part of how truth conquers is with this beautiful thing called freedom of speech. The UK is supposed to have it. They absolutely do not have it. We're supposed to have it. If you're compliant, you don't have it. If you're free and sovereign, you definitely have it. So what's going on in the UK? Why are they arresting people for posting things on social media? Well, because it's hate speech that's inciting violence. Now, of course, we all know what they mean by hate speech. It's sharing information that they don't want shared, no matter how true it actually is. So the UK has riots going on. Long story short, it's groups of immigrants, large groups that are attacking UK citizens and destroying property. These UK riots are not being covered by the media, and they don't want it covered. Yet, turn to social media where people think they can voice what they want, and by all rights, they should. However, because they don't want word getting out that there's these riots from, well, immigrants just doing nasty things, they're now arresting people who post about it in the UK, calling it hate speech. You're inciting violence. No, I'm like saying what criminals are doing, and you're protecting the criminal activity by arresting me for just saying what they're doing to make people aware? That's right. So let's hear what they're doing in the UK from the horse's ass's mouth himself.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred.
This is interracial hatred, okay? No, you could say that band of immigrants is attacking those people with axes. Well, they're a different color than you, so that is racial hatred to observe the deadly violence that they're applying to everybody. Got it. We know what racial hatred means to the tyrants.
Publishing or distributing material which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification, arrests, and so forth.
Then follow up with identifications and arrests and so forth. Well, that's a pretty vague so forth, buddy, because you just talked about arresting your own citizens for saying words. Now, I would guess most of the hate speech that people are saying isn't actually hate speech. It's reality speech. And tyrants hate reality speech. That's why they call it hate speech. But even for probably a very low percentage who are saying genuinely racist, hateful things, that too is covered by freedom of speech. I really like this guy. I want to hear what else he has to say.
So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are. And the consequences will be visited upon them.
It's like, do you think about maybe stopping those people with axes and machetes? That could be potentially harmful. I think it is harmful. Oh, it's not? Okay, the words I said portraying what's going on, that's harmful. Cool. I had the deadly weapon of words and memes. So, of course, in the UK, this is now their approach. Show me on the doll where the meme offended you. And cut to a news broadcast about a 55-year-old woman arrested for posting something on social media. We'll get back to these tyrannical nut jobs in just a second, but first I'll state the obvious. We are living in a time of tyranny. We have a secret service that takes out the shooter, but only after he gets 8 shots off at our president. We have an FBI that fabricates cases. We have an ATF that wants to take away our guns. We have an FDA that favors pharmaceutical companies over the health and well-being of the American people. Quite clearly, our government agencies have been weaponized against us as the American people. In much of the same way that we need to protect our leader who literally took a bullet for us, we also need to be strong enough to protect our families. And just like how the corrupt people are trying to take down Trump, they're also trying to take down Black Forest's star product, NMN. Because of the greed, evil, and corruption of agencies like the FDA, they're trying to take NMN away from you and make it into the first ever anti-aging prescription drug. Why do they want to do this? Because NMN works. Right now it's an over-the-counter supplement, but they want to take it from you and control it and profit massively, driving up the costs. NMN is vital for the healthy functioning of all 37 trillion cells in your body. Harvard studies show that it can help reduce weight, cholesterol, and blood pressure in overweight people. But the biggest benefit I love about NMN is it's the only thing I know of that can not only slow down, but reverse aging. I love to feel and function my best, and I know the younger I am with my biological age, the better I'll feel and the better I'll function both physically and psychologically. That's why I've been taking NMN for over 5 months now, and I love it. I've asked Black Forest to give my viewers a special discount so you can stock up on NMN before they potentially take it away from us. And they said yes. That's why for the next 48 hours only, when you buy 2 bottles of NMN, you get 1 free. Get it now while you can. Go to blackforestsupplements.com/JP to get your NMN today and start slowing and reversing your aging process. And again, for only 48 hours, there's a buy 2, get 1 free at blackforestsupplements.com/JP. Enjoy. Now, back to this tyranny.
We have some breaking news now, and a woman has been arrested by Cheshire Police in relation to an inaccurate information on social media.
Got it. Inaccurate information. Great. Who determined it was inaccurate? And by the way, even if it was inaccurate, what's the deal? Okay, it was inaccurate. Got it. Got it. We'll live in that frame. It's inaccurate because you said so.
The attacker in the Southport murders. It says a 55-year-old woman from near Chester was arrested earlier today, Thursday the 8th, of course, on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications. She is currently being held.
It's almost like they're making this crap up as they go.
Police custody. Chief Superintendent Alison Ross has also made a statement saying that this is in relation to a post which has been fueled by malicious and the protest rather has been fueled by malicious and inaccurate communications online. It is a stark reminder of the dangers of posting information on social media platforms without checking the accuracy. It's also a warning that we are all accountable for our actions.
Yeah, we get it. It's a warning. Man, she was inciting violence with her words. Do you remember how much violence President Trump incited? In fact, he incited a whole insurrection. Nobody had weapons or guns there, which was a weird way to do an insurrection. By the way, President Trump was the current president for the next 2 weeks after that, so he was inciting an insurrection against his own government. But remember when he violently incited that horrible insurrection by saying, "Stay peaceful and go home." Holy Lord, those words were hateful. They created so much in the way of violence. Delete that 10,000 hours of footage, by the way. And the UK authorities are also telling people they will be prosecuted even if they accidentally share inaccurate information about the old civil unrest they got going. Let's take a look.
Matthew Thompson now to talk through this. So, Matthew, the last point there is crucial, isn't it? Some people...
By the way, my blood is currently boiling.
People might be sharing simply to warn their friends, but it could be considered an offence because they're amplifying this.
Absolutely, and that's the key message, is that however you think you're acting innocently on social media, whatever platform it is, you're just sharing something for whatever reason, that could potentially be a criminal offence. And look, it's not an idle threat either, because...
Not an idle threat. We're threatening you, our citizens, not to speak. This is not an idle threat, dare we repeat.
The Crown Prosecution Service were keen to point out that they've made a number of charges in relation to stirring up of racial hatred online, one of which this morning was for distributing a recording that could, intending to stir up racial hatred. And so,
did they know the person's intentions? Oh yeah, they're the thought police. Of course they know people's intentions. They know what people are thinking better than that person knows what they are thinking. The thought police. This is a crime based on intention.
So they are actually already bringing charges in relation to this sort of thing. So it's a very, very clear message based in the harsh reality, if you like, that if you do this kind of thing, you are potentially committing a criminal offence. There he said it. They've got teams of people scouring the internet looking for this sort of thing. And if you are in the business of sharing or retweeting, whatever platform it might be, potentially criminal material, well, then you could find yourself prosecuted.
So in other words, we We want to intimidate you with these stories and arrests of other people into you censoring yourself. Meanwhile, in England, they seem to have the same soft on crime, especially with illegal immigrant policies that leftist people in power have over here in the good old US of A. And you can see it summarized here. Door number 1, someone who stabbed several people. Door number 2, someone who sexually assaulted young girls. Door number 3, someone who criticized immigrants on Facebook. Police, we got to kick down door number 3 and get them. And you might think, well, thank God that's England. That could never happen here in the US. Well, luckily it could if you vote for Kamala Harris and her new pick, Tampon Tim Walz, for vice president. Take a look at what Mr. Tampon Tim had to say.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Let me hear that one more time, Tim.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on...
There's no guarantee to free speech. Dummy me. I misinterpreted the First Amendment that guarantees the right to free speech. Not accurate speech, not truthful speech, but free speech. I misinterpreted that. I thought that First Amendment was about freedom of speech the whole time. I guess as I reread it right here, the First Amendment guarantees Americans the right to obedience. That's right, Tim. Hope you get elected. Obviously, they'll throw Kamala under the bus shortly thereafter. There you will be in a position of power, you powerless, power-hungry tyrant that is weak enough that evil preys on it. You have no power. You simply crave power. So the illusion of power satisfies you, while puppet masters use you like a prostitute to do their bidding. Can't wait for you to be in charge, Tim, so we can implement more of this right here in the U.S. What are they doing in the U.K.? Oh, the same people that run them are running us, giving me more. Cool. I'm all about that. We don't have the right to free speech. There's no guarantee. It's the right to obedience. Woo! Worth knowing this is happening in the UK because if we're not aware, it'll sneak up and get us. And we've seen a lot of this kind of thing trying to crawl into the fabric of America. And luckily, more and more people are waking up, calling it out, not cowering down like a little sheep, but standing up bravely, realizing if we're afraid to lose what we have, we are going to be living on our knees, but that's no way to live. Someone who's willing to die on their feet in the name of what's right because they're principled, they know their values, that's someone who upholds the beautiful freedoms of America. So we got to know it's coming so we can make sure we stand with all our strength for what's right. And by the way, what's right is our rights. Surrender them to approximately no one at approximately never times. With that said, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, let me know what you think about what they're doing to people for posting on social media in the UK. In the comments below, I will be reading those comments and arresting you accordingly. Look forward to seeing you on our next video. But until then, keep speaking freely.